Hey y'all, it's your girl Candace, and I just want to start off by giving myself a round of applause for finally doing this video. Y'all don't understand. I've literally been saying I'm gonna do this for a couple years now. A couple years, it's okay, everything's fine. It's 2020. I literally have no excuse. Corona didn't shut everything down. I'm not essential, so I'm not working. So why not give y'all this story time? Because it's a mess. It's a mess. I don't care if y'all could hear the birds chirping and the traffic in the background. I don't care that my eyes feel naked because I don't got no lashes or my glasses on. It's all right. Everything's fine. We're going to get through this together. Okay? We going to get through this. So, I want to start off by saying, you can see the title. Now, this is pre-saved and sanctified, Candace. Do not judge me by the decisions that I made in my early 20s, y'all, because I wasn't where I am now. I just wanted to get that out the way, just in case like anybody tries to drag me like in the comments or whatever. Please don't drag me. I was different. I'm not a homewrecker. That was just just before we got to it. Just wanted to put that out there. All right, y'all, so let's get into this story time. Now, a couple years ago, I started my career at the time as a merchant seaman, and I got put on this ship in Hawaii. Now, when you think about it or when you hear it, you're like, oh, you're on a ship in Hawaii, that sounds lit. That's what I thought. It wasn't. It wasn't lit at all. For the first few weeks, it was not lit at all. I worked in the galley. If you've ever been on a ship, you know like what that entails. Worked in the galley, it was terrible. Okay. My schedule, terrible. I worked 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and we work every day. So no days off, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The only days I got to get off the ship were Sunday nights and Thursday nights because those were our overnights. So I got to get off, at night and like see people, but really only Thursdays I got to see like crew for real. So like for the first few weeks I only talked to like the people that was in my same position or whatever, and I ended up getting introduced to this guy. We'll call him Bobby. Bobby was not in my position or whatever, but he knew mutual friends, I guess. So Bobby started flirting and whatnot. I started flirting back. First, I was flirting because I was bored and I hated my job and like there was nothing else to do because it wasn't like we could drink like real liquor, technically. So, it was just something to do. But then we got super close. We was together every day. And we just ended up like vibing. So if you've been on a boat, you know that like ship time, like 1 month ship time is like 5 months regular time because you're together so often. So like the things that you would get to know or like, the things that you would do with somebody after like 5 months on the ship, y'all together every day, all day. You don't have nothing else to do but talk. So you kind of get to know them and you like as close to them as you would be in 1 month. So we got super close, and we just started like rocking with each other or whatever. Everything was going pretty much like awesome. Like we were good. I'm gonna say for the first like 5 months. Our first contract was like 5 months or whatever. Now, in that first contract, those first 5 months, we had one small hiccup, and I'm gonna skip on past this hiccup because we might have to go back, you know what I'm saying, later on in the story, maybe. Depends on how messy I feel. But so we had one small hiccup, but it wasn't major. It was towards the beginning of us talking. So because we weren't exclusive, I wasn't tripping. But then that went away and we were good. So for the first, like I said, 5 months, everything's good. I left the ship and he left a week after me. But in that time, like he finally said that I love you. Like, I'm on cloud 9 and crap. We good. So during the time that we were both off the boat, it was like late August into September. Well, really late August to like early October. So I remember this day because it was on Labor Day. Now, on Labor Day, me and my family had got together. My best friend had came to town. We was kicking it. We were having a barbecue. It was, I don't know, we was lit, right? Something, I don't know why I was scrolling on Facebook, because I was doing a lot that day, but I started scrolling through Facebook. Now, on the ship, I'm gonna backtrack. On the ship, because of my schedule, like, I wasn't really on my phone like that. So I probably talked to my family once a week. I didn't really scroll, like, Facebook and stuff like that, Instagram, nothing like that, because half the time when I was off, we didn't have Wi-Fi, and I didn't want to pay for Wi-Fi at the time because, I was new to the ship and I was kind of broke. So I was just like, that's a waste. So the only time I was really on my phone was during those 2 nights that we had overnights. Now, I did get promoted after a couple of months, so then I got a new schedule, but I still, like, by that time that I got promoted and I was able to, like, get off the boat all the time and stuff like that, we were already, like, rocking pretty heavy. So I never felt the need to, like, go visit, like, his socials and stuff like that. Okay? Now, but I kind of fact-checked or whatever, fact-check? Y'all know what I'm saying. I asked people about him, specifically females, because dudes be lying for each other and nobody has time for that. So I asked a couple females about him before we started talking. Like, this when we was flirting. They all said, like, yo, he be chilling, he's low key, he don't do nothing, whatever. That was my way of, like, getting a little background check. Wasn't enough. So on Labor Day, something, I don't know, I was on Facebook and he popped up as, like, people you may know. And I was like, oh, let me go to his page, let me just go to it, whatever. So I was scrolling through his, like, little, I don't know, through his posts, or I think somebody had posted one of his kids on his page and he tagged him and who I thought was the baby mama. And I knew her name, so I knew it was her. I noticed that her last name was his last name. I'm thinking, how, like, back in the day, you would, like, if you've been with somebody for a minute, like, you would put their last, I don't know. I just was talking myself out of the obvious because I was just like, I ain't got no proof. So I saw her page, so I clicked on her page. Her page wasn't private. Now, before I did that, though, I went, y'all know we going through pictures. Wasn't nothing on his page. Nothing, like, incriminating was on his page, for real. Then I went to hers, and for a while, I was scrolling through her pictures, wasn't nothing popping up. Finally, I get to a picture that was posted, like, at the time, 5 years ago. Wedding photo. Wedding photo. When I tell you immediately, I call him, because we were off the boat at the time, but we were still talking, like, every day. So immediately got offline, called him. Yo, he's like, what's up? I was like, so you're married? Dead silence. My boy did not say nothing. So I repeated myself, hello, are you married? And he was like, he said something weird, like, I'm getting out of it, or like, I'm working on it, or something, not yes, but yes. Y'all know what I'm saying? So he said that, and I hung up. And I blacked. So I'm pretty positive I blocked him, like, right away. I'm pretty sure I blocked him right away. I told my friend, like, my friend was in town. So I told my friend, like, yo, we about to bounce, about to go, out here. We, basically went to, like, a little bar or whatever. We was about to start bar hopping and stuff. I also called my homeboy, who was like, that was my dude, right? My homeboy was my dude, but we were also, like, each other's rebounds whenever our relationships wouldn't work out. So that had been going on for, like, a while. We had that relationship. So I'll call her, yo, we linking, we going here. We went out, had a blast. I'm not gonna go into detail, but we had a blast, got lit, you know, whatever. So after I had a blast and got lit, I unblocked Bobby and I text him what I did and whatnot in a very spiteful, nasty way. I'm not a spiteful person, and like I actually was embarrassed of myself after that. But when I tell you, I knew what would get under his skin, so I made sure that I told him, you know, everything, and then I blocked him again so he couldn't say nothing to me. Period. Because nigga, you're married. It's been 5 months. You ain't think to tell me that you were married? Married. Anyways, so after I thought about like what I said and how I said it, it was probably a week went by. I went ahead, unblocked him, texted him like, yo, I probably pushed it too far, blah, 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 blah. So we talked about it. He was like, you know, I'm legally married, but I'm separated. I wasn't buying that. He's like, I'm separated, whatever. I was like, you know what? It's fine. We cool, we cordial. It is what it is. Let it be that, you know? So I started talking to other people. I started going on little dates. And then I got sent back to the ship like a couple weeks after that incident. Maybe like 2 weeks after, I want to say. So I got sent back to that ship, and then I started talking to somebody else. I was just doing my thing, you know. It's my early 20s. I'm not tied down to nobody, is what I was thinking, you know. This dude, we cool, but like, whatever, you know. I'm not feeling that whole separated story, and like, I got other options. Is what I was feeling. Mind you, we had already did the whole I love you. I thought I was like all in love before this revelation of, oh, I'm married. So 3 weeks after I came back, he was scheduled to come back. So I had been rocking with a dude on the ship, and like the ship is closed, and like all the black people basically know each other, you know. So I wanted to tell Bobby about dude before any of his little friends told him, because I didn't want that. Like, we were still cool, so I didn't want that. So we had went out to lunch before he got on the boat, and I told him, and it was whatever. Y'all, the same night that this man came back, I was talking so much stuff. I'm like, yo, we not doing nothing. We ain't kicking it. We ain't, you know, we cool, but we ain't that no more. I lied. The first night we was back together. Like, it's not funny. It's funny because like, bitch, are you serious? Are you
You're
dumb?
so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Are you dumb? I justified it because I'm like, he separated. The people that we're close with vouched for him. They said that they had been separated for like over a year. Whatever. I was in love. I was whatever. So yeah, we started rocking again. My bad, y'all. My battery died. But back to the story. So the first few months of us being back was fine. It wasn't like the first, you know, the other contract. It wasn't like the first 5 months, but it was fine. It wasn't dramatic or nothing. Now, early on when we came back, we did have this conversation, and he basically made it seem like it was my fault for not catching on to the hints that he was throwing, that he had something going on at home, which pissed me off because he basically was saying like, oh, well, I was saying this, and doesn't it make sense now? And, you know, I said that I didn't really want a girlfriend. Does it make sense? Nigga, I didn't want no boyfriend. I didn't want to be with you. It just ended up being that way. Okay? Or he would say like, you know, you started staying over, blah, blah, blah. First of all, let's not forget, whenever I would say, yo, maybe I should stay in my room, or maybe you can talk to other people. Every time I gave this dude an out, he fought me on it. So it was pissing me off that he was trying to make it seem like I was the one who kind of like made us a thing. I wasn't even the first one of us that like called the other like girlfriend or boyfriend. It was just so basically the second contract I got super insecure and like kind of paranoid, and then because he was making it seem like it was my fault, and because I'm not used to being like the insecure person in a relationship, I got pissed off. So I was mad like the entire second contract. So that's like 6 months of just me being like a whole different person. But so fast forward to like January through, let's say, March or whatever, my boy started acting crazy. Like, he was acting out, y'all. He was acting out. Like, he was just doing stupid stuff and getting caught, which was even more frustrating. So I caught myself like breaking up with him a few times. He did something, I left. A day later, I couldn't avoid him no more, came back. Did something else. He did something else, and it got to the point where like I got physical with this man. Now, I do not in any way like endorse like physical violence or like domestic violence in particular. I don't think it's right. And personally, I'm one of those women that's like, if you a woman and you hit a man, be prepared to get hit back. When I tell you I hit him and I wanted him to be back, like I wanted to fight him. Like I felt so disrespected at this point, this day that whatever he did. No, I'll tell you what he did. Me and my friend went to a bar on a Thursday night. And if you have been on that ship, you know where we at. You know Kauai Beach. It's wild. So we was at like a little pregame spot. Me and my friend, we were drinking. Him and his friend, who she was talking to, came in. They greeted us. Hey, hi, bye, whatever. They went with their little friends. It was this girl that greeted them. I knew her and she was cool, bubbly personality, all that stuff. But she had went to greet the guys, but she was over there for a little too long for comfort. You know what I'm saying? So I went over there and said hey to her. She told me that he said something inappropriate, supposedly. I was like, all right, bet. So we went to the next spot. I didn't talk to him while we was there. I was just kicking with my friends. I got really lit. And the way that the ship is, you know, my room was all the way forward. So my room was like pretty far. And like we could drink and stuff on this ship or when we off the ship or whatever, but we couldn't be drunk. Like they had basically, if they wanted to breathalyze us, they could breathalyze us. They didn't unless we did something that was like, all right, I don't got no choice. So I knew that if I tried to make it to my room, it would be a whole situation. But his room was a lot closer to the gangway. So I went to his room. I was taking my shoes off, getting comfortable. My intentions were to be asleep before he got there because I didn't want it to be no thing. I didn't want it to be no problems. But he came too fast. So like a few minutes after I came, he came. And we ended up arguing. And I put my hands on him. And my friend had to like come to the room and escort me out. I thought we was done. He came to my room crying. We wasn't done. I went back to his room the same night. He did something else. That hiccup I told y'all about at the beginning of the like talking stage or whatever came back. That was a problem. He ended up, I may have looked through his phone and found some text messages that he shouldn't have been sending while I was sitting next to him, like while we was like out on a date actually. So I don't know if y'all can hear that, but somebody motorcycle loud. Anyways, yeah, so he was sending text messages that he shouldn't have been sending. Definitely not while I'm sitting right next to him, like out on a date. So that was a problem too. I left, packed all my stuff, went back to my room. I think I lasted maybe 2 or so days not talking to him, and then he came back with like flowers and gifts and blah 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 blah. So I went back. It was just a big old like back and forth thing. Like it was up and down. It was a roller coaster. Like it was sick, y'all. Like literally it was sick. And it got to the point that I knew that I was so weak that I verbalized like to him like, yo, clearly I'm not gonna stay away from you and vice versa. So I'm like over trying it, like I'm over the back and forth. But once this contract is over, and this was a 6-month contract, once this contract is over, I'm not coming back. We done. Like, we had that discussion. Like, it was clear that I was not where I was at, and I wasn't strong enough to leave him alone or stay away from him for more than a day. So I was like, once we leave, we're done. I'm not coming back to this ship. I will not see you again. It is what it is. That's it. So the end of my contract came, and that was it. So fast forward to today. I haven't seen him since we left Hawaii. That was 3 years ago. We are still cool. We talk on occasion just to like check in on each other, make sure we're alive for the most part. So there's no bad blood, which is why I didn't want to like spend too much time like bashing him or anything like that. I really wanted to do the story time because me and my friend had a conversation on our podcast. Ain't that it? Shameless plug. But we had a conversation about how a lot of women have a hard time acknowledging their toxicity within relationships. And this particular relationship was probably my most toxic, like on my end. And I'll tell you why. Because like, I think obviously he was trash, right? Because like he was married. I didn't know about it. But I also got back with him. And that's what we gonna dive into. First and foremost, I know now, and I used to hate to say this, I hate this word, but I was so freaking naive. It was sick. Like, I've always been this person that felt like, well, I wouldn't lie about this, so they wouldn't lie about this, or I wouldn't do this, so they wouldn't do this. It never crossed my mind that somebody would intentionally do something that could hurt me because they could. Like, that never crossed my mind. I'm not saying this, I'm not like pulling it out of my butt or like assuming that he knew it and did it. He literally told me, you know what I'm saying? He literally said, I did this because I knew that I could get away with it. Simple and plain. Simple and plain. Which is why he got blocked for like a year after I left the ship, but whatever. Yeah, he told me that. So it never crossed my mind that somebody would intentionally, do something or intentionally like take advantage of how you feel for them. Like, that never crossed my mind. So it hurts, obviously, but like, come on, like, grow up. Like, literally, that's me talking to me. Grow up, and some of y'all might need to grow up too, because like, I was super naive. Also, a big thing that I realized when looking back onto this relationship, I have suffered from chronic depression. Now, during the time that I was on this ship, there was a lot of things happening in my life that I didn't have any control over. And when that happens, I tend to get super overwhelmed. So, for example, I hated my job. For the first, month or so, I didn't really have any like real friends. So like, I didn't have anybody to talk to, and I didn't talk to like a lot of my people at home because I couldn't talk to them half the time. So I got super close with him, and eventually I did get promoted, and I was able to go explore every day and enjoy Hawaii. But by that point, we were already together, so whatever. Not only the stuff happening there, but also like my dad had got sick. I had a family member that passed. My sister was in the hospital for a little while. So like, there were so many things that were out of my control that I didn't know how to deal with them. And me personally, when I get overwhelmed, I start to make decisions based off of solely emotion, like never logic. I knew what was happening was wrong. I knew there was an issue. I knew he was, trash. Hate to say it, Bobby, but I knew he was trash. I knew, I could do other things with my time, but like, I was in love, and I was, it was just so many emotions, and that's what I like based all my decisions off of at the time. Like, I didn't really have, like, I couldn't think straight, to keep it quite honest. I couldn't think logically. Yeah, that's it, period. I couldn't think logically. And like, my biggest lesson was the fact, and knowing the fact that I depended on him for my happiness. Now, first of all, whenever you depend on anyone, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, it could be like your parents or your friends, whatever. Whenever you're depending on someone else to keep you happy, it's an issue, period. It's a problem. First of all, you will almost always end up disappointed because they're a human being. People mess up. Simple. Secondly, like, it's extremely toxic to put that kind of pressure on someone else. You know what I mean? Like, it's just super toxic. Like, you just shouldn't do that. And I guess lastly is it stunts your growth, like, as a human being, period. You know what I mean? Like, before, when I was focusing all that energy on him and like depending on him for my happiness, there was no way that I could look within. There was no way I could be happy for myself. You know what I mean? I didn't know what made me happy on my own. My happiness was always associated with him or maybe whoever else I was with at the time, which is a problem. You need to know how to make yourself happy, obviously. And then not only that, when you're dependent on somebody else to make you happy, you limit your relationship with God, and also you kind of put them on the same platform that you put God, and that's just a no-no for me personally. That's dead now. Back then though, like, you know, he was my happiness, and he knew that as long as he fulfilled certain things for me, like certain, like my love languages basically, though we didn't have like a term for it back then, he knew that if he like gave me the attention I needed, if he, you know, fulfilled physical touch and quality time, that nothing else mattered, and I would still be happy with him at the end of the day. So when you're relying on somebody like that and putting them on the same pedestal as you would God, who is the only one that could supply all your needs, it's a freaking issue. Like, I was so sick. I was so toxic. We were both toxic, but this is about me. I was so toxic. And if you take anything from this story time, I could get into like the juicy stuff, but like I really wanted you to take into account like me and all the things that I could have done differently and what I did wrong. So if you have it in that situation, you won't feel like you're alone, or if you are going through the situation, you know to get out of it, or you know, you just avoid the situation altogether. Because I was stupid, I was young, I was dumb, I was a mess. There's really not much else I could say about it. I was so toxic, so freaking toxic. And I'm so grateful for like my spiritual journey and like, you know, me just focusing on myself these last couple of years, that I know better, because I would never put myself in that situation again. But it's kind of funny to like look back on like your young self and be like, girl, were you on drugs? Like, what was going on? What's going on through your head? What was the problem, baby? Like, ugh. I hope y'all enjoyed this story time. Like, I didn't want to get into too much of the mess. I really wanted to get my point across about, you know, acknowledging our toxicness. But I feel like I have so many stories that I could tell y'all. I want to kind of make it a thing, like Testimony Tuesdays or something. Let me know if y'all think that should be a thing. I kind of want to do that. But hope y'all enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do all that stuff that the real YouTubers be saying, because I'm about to start putting stuff out there. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit, y'all. Stay with the kid. It's gonna be lit. I appreciate y'all so much for watching. Bye.